we've been very focused on testing, no child left behind, proficiency, some of those things, that in the process, some of the things such as climate and culture, we've determined are fluffy or we don't have time with to do. As you've talked, and we talked a little bit before this session, when you think about empathy, building trust, building that culture, they probably fit together. Would you talk a little bit about culture, climate, and how that fits with your work?
Yeah, I don't like the term soft skills. I like the term human skills. Hard skills is math and science and English, and human skills is how to talk to each other, cooperate, communicate, right? The reason we consider these things soft or fluffy or ethereal is not because they don't exist, it's just because they're hard to measure, right? Like, what's the value of friends? I don't know. Like, how do you calculate the value of a friend? How do you have to calculate the value of your parents? How do you calculate the value of a good teacher? I don't know. I know that they matter. I know, right? Over the course of time, it's very easy to measure, just like the exercise example. And when you commit yourself to leadership, like exercise, other people will start to notice it sometimes before you. Have you been working out? Actually, I have. Versus somebody will come and say, like, something's changed here. Like, what are you guys doing in the school? Like, it's different. Oh, I didn't even know anybody noticed. We just went on this leadership journey. It's not immediate, but like exercise, it gains a momentum. It starts to become self-evident, and it starts to gain its own momentum, and it starts to attract people who all want to try it and be a part of it because it becomes exciting. And now that you see a little bit of result, you start doing it more and more and more. And it really is a momentum thing. And this is why we need leaders to take the risk to go first when there is no momentum. That's when it's hardest to get the momentum. And to not worry about the majority, but only worry about the early adopters. Don't try and convince everybody. Look for the people who believe that this is the right thing to do. You don't have to experiment by cutting the phones out of a whole school. Maybe cut it out of a classroom if there's an early adopter teacher, or if you're an early adopter principal. Experiment. And it's not, and again, like exercise, you can't do it for everybody. It can be like, it doesn't work. I know that. You got to kind of commit to it for a little bit. An entire school year, I know. And deal with the parents who say, but my kid, an emergency. We have an emergency thing because we believe it's really important for kids to learn to talk to each other so that they don't feel addicted to their phones. How are you doing talking to your kid, or do you find your kid is always on their phone even at dinner with you? We'll help solve that problem. That conversation needs to happen. It's not that they're fluffy or don't exist, it's just that they're hard to measure. And there needs to be as much, if not more, attention to culture. And I know there are many, many issues in the way American schools work that make it more difficult. I don't know how it works in Iowa. I just know where I come from at home. I grew up in New Jersey. If you had a bad teacher, there's nothing to do but move the teacher. And so you just have bad teachers polluting one school to the next as opposed to dealing with it. The incentive structures are weird in schools. I'm not saying it should be like hit the goal, get the bonus, but somebody should be rewarded. I believe in peer rewards. Do you want me to talk? I can keep yammering. Never ask me a question, I'll give you 12 answers. It's kind of a funny thing to say in a Q&A session. So peer rewards are fantastic, and they work really well in organizations where the teachers are not chosen by the administrators as to who's the best teacher. They're not even chosen by the students. They're chosen by each other. And in the best companies we've seen, what they have is a volunteer system where employees volunteer to run the peer review, the peer recognition program. So it's all volunteer. And people submit written essays as to who they believe should be recognized. The one teacher that you wish you were more like. The teacher, or it could be anybody in the school. It could be a cafeteria worker. The person in the school who everybody wishes they were more like. And when you think about what the values of our school are, this person embodies our values better than anybody else, and we all aspire to be as good as that person. And the group of volunteers then take all the essays, they take the best ones, they go and have a follow-up conversation with all of the people who submitted them, and they pick a winner, and they have a public event where everybody from the school is invited, all the teachers, all the janitors, everybody's invited, and they read out the top 3 winners. And tears are always there, because there's no greater recognition than being recognized by your own tribe. It is the most powerful feeling any human can be given, way more powerful than your boss saying, good job, because then we're all working for one person's approval. But to know that our peers single us out, that they want to be more like us, is overwhelming for people. And the most humbling thing. And people are not angry because it's not a performance thing. And it surprises everybody. The leaders never guess who the people choose, ever, because they're not in the weeds every day with the people. It is the most remarkable thing to build a peer recognition program into a school system. I don't know if anyone's ever done it, quite frankly, that the teachers choose who they believe they want to be more like every single year. Not just the teachers, everybody. And that award is given, and you make a big deal out of it, and you watch what happens in the organization if you recognize values. That's a big one. I'd love to see that done in the school. That would be so cool. Do it with the students as well. Let the students do it. That'd be amazing. Each year, depending on the size of the school, you can break it down to smaller groups, but each class of students gets to choose the student that they wish they were more like, that they admire and hope that one day they can grow up and be more like that person who embodies the values that they believe are important. Let the kids do it too. You can have the kids give out the kid award and the teachers give out the teacher award all on the same day. That's cool.